Welcome to Life Lessons Podcast. I'm Life with Marlene. How are you today? Okay, I think it's back on. I don't know what happened. StreamYards cut me out, everybody. I apologize for the inconvenience. Hey, Swoop, how are you doing? Welcome. Yeah, I know the audio went out. Hey, Miss Tracy, how are you doing? Welcome. Well, let me start the podcast off by putting the banner up here. Everybody can see from the title that what we're going to be talking about, and I feel like this is a very important topic. Like I said, this is the Life Lessons podcast because there are so many things in this life that we have to learn, and unfortunately sometimes it's the hardest ones. Hey, fishing the dream, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the thumbs up, everybody. If you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. That's one of the things that I had to learn, that family doesn't equal love. And I don't know why we have this notion or this idea that family means we're going to get love. And it is that idea. We tend to have that idea that because we have blood relatives, it means that they love us. And wrong answer. Yes, we can have some blood relatives that do love us, but we can't just equate and say because I have my family, quote unquote, that they love me. Most of the times, family is the ones that hurts us the most. Let's have some hurrahs on that. Some, you know, real conversation talking about that. Family will hurt you the most. Family will do the most. Family will start stuff. Family won't let things go. Family will be jealous of you. It's all of those things. Like, if we're going to be honest, let's be 100% honest with ourselves and not sugarcoat it. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Welcome into everybody. Yes. Puzzle pieces. How are you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Welcome. Shout out to all my mods on deck. Yes. Welcome. Yeah, you can't pick your relatives. That's the thing. We can't pick the families that we're born into. We can do nothing about that part, but we can choose our reaction to it. We can choose how much time we put into them, how much effort, how much energy. We have control of that. Hey, East, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to everybody in the chat. Because that's one of the things about life is we tend to think that we have our family, and because we have our family, we have love. And you know, family is usually the ones that take us for granted the most. Now, I know that many of us believe that too. Um, they can't take you for granted. And even sometimes it may not be to a very bad degree, but a lot of times family members, or as they're really called, relatives, expect things from us. They expect so much from us. Um, they want you to give your all, every single part of your money. They want you to give them all their time. There's so much expectations when it comes to the family, your relatives. There's so much expectations. And I will say that a lot of times family members are spoiled. If I'm going to be completely honest and call this a life lesson, I had to honestly learn that because they were my family doesn't mean they love me. There are some very manipulative, using, conniving. What? How many words can I come up with in the English dictionary for family? That yes, I'm not going to even lie and say I don't have some relatives that are very loving and sweet and supportive of me. I don't discount that. But there are some relatives that mean us no good. They will take everything you have, they will take all of your money and still want you to give them more. They will take all of your time. They want you to be surrounded by their foolishness. And they're always complaining about their life, and they never make any changes. It's just really exhausting when it comes to relatives. We love them, but I think the most important life lesson that I learned when it came to my family was that I needed to learn to love them from a distance, or at least some individuals. We have to learn to love them from a distance, because if we keep them in close contact with us, we'll never have anything. We'll never be anything. We'll never accomplish anything, because all you will wind up doing is giving all your time, your effort, and your energy to them. And nobody has time for that. And one thing that I had to definitely learn is that we can't help who we are related to, but we can control what we give power to. There are so much times we put so much power, so much effort, so much energy into our relatives, but are they matching us? And I don't mean like tit for tat, that they're going to give you exactly what you give to them, but what kind of support are they giving you? Even if they cannot support you financially, do they give you emotional support, mental support, spiritual support, you know, even just something as simple as checking on you? Hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? How is life? How's your health? Is everything okay with work? Do you need anything? Even having relatives to say things like that, do you need anything? That's a special thing. And I'm finding that it's becoming more and more rare. And, you have to honestly say, I can't deal with certain ones. I definitely can't deal with certain ones. And it's a matter of either I'm going to keep supporting you and your negativity and your drama and your evil and your complaining and jealous spirit, or I have to back away so that I can keep my own peace of mind. And that's what was happening to me. My peace of mind was on the line dealing with them. My peace of mind was all messed up. Actually, there was no peace. I was very aggravated. Every time I would go to the doctor, my blood pressure was up. No matter how many times you would talk to them, you talk to them until you're blue in the face to tell them that you don't like what they're doing or whatever, or you need them to support you, or I need you to understand this. And they don't want to understand you, they don't care, or whatever reason, because some relatives, let me say it this way, some relatives never grew up being accountable. They always did whatever it is that they wanted to do, and they make everything about them. They're just selfish in nature. And once you start to get healthy, I know that was for me. Once I started to get healthy and realize, no, I don't have to do everything for you. No, I don't have to always listen to you and be there for you, especially when it comes to when it happens when I need something, which I'm not a person that actually asks for a lot of things. I'm just a person that, check on me from time to time. Ask me how I'm doing. Support me sometimes, give an encouraging word. For me, that's enough support. I don't need much more than that, but I feel like, you're never getting your cup filled up. You're never getting any support. You're never getting any encouragement. I always feel like it's such a draining and toxic environment with some relatives that you can't even breathe. You feel like you're drowning, or you feel like you're a doormat. And the only time they want to call you and talk to you is when they want something. Yep. None. I am top tier. Everybody depends on me. Well, Miss Tracy, I think you may have to change that. Thank you so much, Miss Rashid. Have a great day. That's the and that's what I had to work on, Miss Tracy. I'm not trying to throw you or anybody under the bus. I'm just being honest. I had to learn to save myself. I had to save myself. You know how they always talk about putting the oxygen mask on yourself? You have to save yourself first before you can save anybody else, before you can show up for anybody else. And I found myself so exhausted all the time, so tired, like not only physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted, supporting relative, supporting everybody else, not only financially, but also emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, but never feeling like I ever would get back. Not even a drop in the bucket, not even a little bit. But I was the one that had to change it. I remember when my therapist said, but who is in control of that? Who is in charge of you? Who's in charge of what you do? You are. So that's one of the things that I had to learn. I'm talking about now being in a space of having healthy relationships. And with our relatives, many times the relationships are not healthy, they're very dysfunctional, and we have to change that. And I'm telling you right now, when you start making changes to not being a doormat to them, not letting them use you, or you don't go back and forth arguing with them, they're not going to like it. They're going to say, you're weird now, you're strange, you've changed. No, I know my power now. I know my worth. I understand about boundaries. And I think that that is something very important when it comes to your relatives. Healthy relationships must have communication. And this applies to all relationships. If you don't have communication, um, you're going to have a lot of problems. And I do understand, don't get me wrong, especially in urban communities. Especially urban communities, low income, it's like you have just been living your whole life from all generations past, your ancestors, just trying to provide and keep a roof over your head and, keep the family together, just struggling to survive. But also within that, just because you were raised a certain way, just because you grew up in a certain environment, it does not mean that you can't change it. And that's why I said this is a life lessons podcast. I had to learn to elevate my own standard. I had to start making my own reasonable expectations because it has to be reasonable for me. Remember, we're talking about putting the oxygen mask on ourselves. And once I made the decision that I have to save myself, I have to have peace of mind. I need to have some fun. I need to laugh. I need to have my own life and accomplish certain goals. I need to take care of my health. I got to focus on me and my peace of mind. When I made those decisions, people naturally who were my relatives who didn't like it, they eventually started dropping off, They stopped talking to me. They ignored me, whatever. I say there's the door. Because if you're only around me just to get something from me, I don't need you in my life. I don't need you only when you want something, or only when you want to vent, or only when you want support. But when I need support, you never give it to me. How about you asking how I'm doing, or, doing a kind deed for me? I'm all for supporting my relatives. And don't get me wrong, I love my family. I really and truly do. But I couldn't let myself become unalived, being so stressed out, working all these hours, never getting sleep, taking care of every single person's kids, and never getting to take care of my own household. I'm like, come on, Marlene. It's time to mature. And that's the thing about a life lesson. As we mature in our understanding, the more we come to know ourselves and to love ourselves, so should your expectations. When you elevate, so should your thought processes. And I get it that some family members aren't going to like it. They're going to get really set off. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to cuss you out. They're going to be angry. They're going to talk about you behind your back. They're going to say, you think you're better now, and all of those things. So be ready for that. But for me, that doesn't matter, because if I'm only there, if you only love me when you can use me, if you only love me when you can get something from me, I believe you should just keep that. Keep that to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Nobody needs anything like that. Just keep the toxicity away. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy new week to you and to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces, for dropping links. I really appreciate it. I do think it's so valuable to have healthy communication, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Just like it took how many years, how many generations of brokenness, it takes just as long to have the healthy, to start forming communication, to talk about things, to set those boundaries and then keep them. Okay. And this is a really important part about, having the conversations about your relatives. Okay. Because a family doesn't equal love. So in a healthy relationship, we don't excuse mistreatment and disrespect. And that's one of the things that I was doing. And many amongst my relatives were doing the same thing. Oh, that's my family. Like, you have to support them. You have to give them your money. You have to take care of their kids. You have to bail them out of their situation. You have to. No, you don't. No, you don't. Until you make a decision to change it, it will stay the same. You will continue to punish yourself. You will continue to be broke. You will continue to feel miserable. You will continue to never have peace of mind. But that's your choice. And everybody has choices to make. Some just would rather people please. And that's one of the things that I had to stop. I was spending all this time and effort making everybody happy, cooking and cleaning and supporting, giving money, doing this, everybody like pulling like in every direction I was being pulled. Marlene, support me with this. Marlene, support me with that. Marlene, everybody's calling my name. Help me, help me, help me. And I just felt like I just wanted to pluck out all my hairs one by one and scream at the top of my lungs because I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm there supporting everybody, but nobody is supporting me. Nobody even cares. Like, do you even care? Like my health is declining. I'm working so hard. I'm working all these hours and nobody would ever say, "Hey, sit down. Have a break. Put your feet up. Let me do something nice for you today. Let me cook you something. Let me take you here. Let me do something nice for you. Let me give you a gift." No, you never get anything. All you ever get is disrespect. Okay. Yes. Hi, Sunshine Films. How are you doing? Welcome. You have to be poured into to be able to give to yourself. And that's the whole thing about it. You have to pour into yourself before you can pour into others. But that's one of the things that I learned about life. I learned about myself that I can't make everybody happy. I can't make other people happier than I'm making myself. Like, you're valuable. You're very expensive. And what are the expenses that we deal with, right? We give away our time, our effort, our energy, even our health, trying to make them happy, trying to make other people happy, and they still will be complaining about something else. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces. Hi, Rudy. There should be some ground rules set before even having a relationship or a conversation. Yes, there has to be boundaries, and I think that that's very important. No disrespect should ever be tolerated, especially when it comes to relatives. I find that relatives feel that they can cuss you out, they can scream, they can no show to very important events, do whatever it is that they want, and if you talk about it, they want to come out of a bag on you. They want to, like, why are you bringing that up? Or, they can do whatever they want to do to you, but when you do the same to them, now you're the worst person in the world. Now you're evil and wicked, and I can't believe that happened. There's so much double standards when it comes to our relatives. And that's why I say family doesn't necessarily equal love. Just because we are related to people, just because we're born and have the same blood running through our veins, it doesn't mean that they care about you. It doesn't mean they love you or are concerned. There are some relatives that in real life, in real time, they are jealous of you. In real time, they hate you, but they will put a smile on their face so that they can get something from you, or they'll play the game, they'll love bomb you. So there's a lot of manipulation that we have to be aware of. We really do. Yes, you can only control your own actions. You really can. Only yourself. Hey, Callie King, how are you doing? Welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Yes. hmm You can only control yourself. That's it. We can't do anything about what others are doing. We can't do anything about our relatives and what they're doing and saying. But what we can do is control our reaction. When they say something to us, we don't have to go back and forth. That's the reason we have the block button now. That's the reason why we say no. It's all of those things. We have choices. And that's one of the things that I had to learn for myself. Instead of always arguing and shouting and telling people all the time what we want, until somebody can give you back what you need, sometimes you have to give your own relatives a timeout. Say, I need a break from you. I can't talk to you right now, so that you can have your peace of mind and also work on yourself, and find out, why do I allow them to treat me this way? And we could say all day long we love ourselves, but if we constantly allow our relatives to treat us like trash, like dirt, then we need to evaluate, why do I allow this? Because we feel we have to, and we don't. You don't have to. Puzzle Pieces says, I used to suffer from migraine headaches for a long time. When I started distancing myself from toxic family members, my migraines went away. Yeah, it's all the pressure. It's the pressure. hmm It is. It's all the pressure they put under you. It's the stress. It's the mind games. And we all want to make our relatives happy. We want to please our relatives because that it's just normal. It's normal to love them, but it's not normal to be used. It's not normal to be taken advantage of. But like I said earlier, we're the ones that have to change that. And nobody can change that but us. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces. Really appreciate it. Yes, you can't allow grown folks' lives to spill over to your life, but that's what will happen. That's what happens. It happens all the time. We allow people who are grown, our grown relative, and it will be the older ones too. I forgot to mention that. It's the older family members that play so much mind games. Your auntie, your older aunties, or your parents, or grandparents, or cousins, people who are up in age. And I'm not talking about people who are like 18 years old. I'm talking about people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s acting like toddlers, acting like they like you must do this for me, you must do that for me. And you don't have to. You don't have to. That's what I had to start schooling. I had to and sometimes you have to take people to school. You have to teach them a lesson, become their teacher. And I had to start sending boundaries. I sent out a group text message. When I went through therapy, I sent out a group text message to all my family members. I love you all, but I cannot make all of you make me sick, make make me miserable, take away my peace of mind. I no longer want to hear the gossiping and the complaining. If you're not going to do something to change your life, do not involve me in it. Do not put me in group text with the drama, the people who are arguing. I don't want to hear about when your baby daddy or baby mama is doing whatever and you won't leave them. All of those things. I had to start setting some boundaries for myself about things I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the negativity. I don't want to hear the drama. And I don't want you to only call me when you want something. If you can't call me just to say hello without wanting anything back, lose my number. Lose my number. Yes. Yes, sometimes we have to learn the hard way, and it's okay. That's why it's called the life lesson. It's called growing up and maturing, coming into your own. And that's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to come into your own, but when we know our worth, we can do it. Yeah. It allows you to keep, yeah, at a distance. And that helped in the beginning, but then, people get lax and they get comfortable all over again, and you get in the same cycle. And you'll have people, like, I don't know if you have it, but people who will say they're sorry and say that they'll change, right? I'll change, I'm sorry. And it may stop. It may stop for maybe 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. But then they go back to their same negative and toxic behaviors, you know? And we can't let people that claim to quote unquote love us to keep hurting us. Yeah, but it takes a while to even realize that that's what happened. That's what's happening. I understand, Swoop. It took me a long time to realize the same thing. Took me a really, really long time to realize that I was being used by my relatives, that they just play a lot of mind games. They smile in your face and behind your back, they say, oh, look at that. And look what they're doing. And they'll talk about how you look. They'll talk about the things that you're dealing with. They pass so much judgments. But when it comes to them, you can't say anything about them. They will throw you under the bus. They will talk about you behind your back, stab you in the back, and do everything wrong. But if you do the same, now you're the worst person. Double standard. That's not good. But the whole thing is that, I understand what you're saying, Swoop. It does take a while to realize, but then the whole thing about it is when we realize we're being used, what do we do? When you realize you're being involved with the mind games and the drama and the everything else like that, what do you do? Do you make changes? Do you stop listening to their foolishness, or do you continue to allow it? That's why I had to get some help through therapy, because I didn't have the tools. I didn't know how to say no without feeling guilty. I didn't know how to love myself and love them at the same time, because for me, how I grew up, you have to help your relative or you're not a good person, or, you know, in speaking of faith, you're not a good believer. Or how could you say that you love God if you don't love me? And I had to understand that love does not cause you pain. Love does not cause you hurt. And people who are toxic and manipulative will always use that. They will always use those mind tactics in order to get inside of your head, to get you to feel guilty, to force you to do something. We have to know different, right? Swoop, like me. Yes, it does. It takes time. It does. It takes a lot of time. Hey, James, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the mods. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces, for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. You know what we have to do? We have to bring Panda out. We have to bring Panda out. Panda is going to come in the building. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces. When the super chat hits. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces. I really do appreciate it. Yes. Yes, that's when the migraines go away. Yes, I'm doing great as well. Thank you all so much for always asking how I'm doing. I'm doing great, and I'm glad you are too. Yes, it's true. Sunshine Films is so true. But we're the ones that have to respect ourselves. We're the ones that have to set some boundaries and actually mean it. Puzzle Pieces, or James, or any of my mods, if you could please put a link to my next stream. I'm going over to my other channel, and I'm going to start a podcast over there in a few minutes on Marlene Motivates. I believe I'm talking about, I'm waiting for it to pop up, but another conversation that I think will go right into what we have been talking about. I feel that is another good conversation. If you could put the link to that, it's going to start in about 4 more minutes. Um, but I just wanted to send some support to all of you, Gem family. You don't have to do this life on your own. Get some support. I believe firmly in having a support group. Yes, today's podcast on my other channel that will be starting in a few minutes is going to be setting boundaries, a guide to assertiveness. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about boundaries and all of those things. Shout out to Angie. Hi, Angie. Thank you so much for popping in. Really appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying your vacation. Angie is making me jealous. She's back home in Jamaica enjoying herself. So, thank you so much, James, for dropping the link. I'm going to be starting over there in about 3 minutes. But before I end this conversation, I want to give all of you some encouragement, no matter whatever the relationship that you have with your relative. If you see something is not right, first you have to not feel guilty. You have to not feel guilty that you want your own time. And you have to reassure your relatives of that. It's not that I don't want to spend time with you. It's not that I don't love you, but I have to show that I love myself. I have to show that I respect myself. I have to show that I love me by the way that I treat myself. And that means that I can't always support you. I can't always bail you out financially. I can give you a donation. I can help you out. I can support you. I can listen to you if it's not toxic. But I had to stop eating on their toxic, whatever. They're ranting and raving about whatever they're going through, their financial problems, their relationship issues, whatever it is. I couldn't let myself continue to be a part of the negativity. I couldn't, can't be a part of the negativity. So we're the ones that have to want to make those changes. So that's where I'm going to end off on today's podcast. Thank you all so much for supporting me, supporting this channel. And to any of you who are going through something with your family, make sure that you are loving yourself, you're supporting your own self, supporting your mental, emotional, physical, and financial well being. Remember to love yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And it means that we have to sometimes cut off certain family members because they're toxic, because their behavior won't change, because they're users, and because others enable them to be toxic. But when we make changes, they will have no other choice either to be on board and to do right by us, or we just have to leave them alone. Yes, puzzle pieces, at one point, your mental health should be more important than your family. Great way to round out this conversation. And to anybody who's watching in the replay, shout out to my replay gang. Thank you all so much. And to all of you, Gems family, know your worth. Know that you deserve to have healthy relationships, and even within your relative. And I know it's not something that's going to happen over time, but when you become healthier, when you develop good communication skills, they'll have no other choice but to communicate with you or to be left behind. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast. And I will see you over on my other channel. I'll be starting in another minute. My mods have put the link to it, and it's going to be Setting Boundaries, a Guide to Assertiveness. I will see you all on the next Life Lessons podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to the mods, the channel members, and to every single one of you. You are worth saving. You are worth being loved, and you are worth the boundaries. I'll see you guys over on Marlene Motivates. Bye bye, everybody.